Now with the distant worlds in full swing, I look back at a rather botched launch where server hamsters were exploding at a more rapid pace than the Chinese crackers in a volcano. One thing though does pop up here and there as I reread some posts in forums and Reddits. Griefing and ganking during such and of course other events tend to be quite a hot button issue. Basically, for this particular event, a lot of folks were gathered both in private groups and open play to do the mass launch. And of course, where there be suckers, there be sucker fuckers. Players who are out there just for the thrill of the kill, and perhaps some trolling too. Regardless, those on the receiving end of the bukkake were none too pleased. These events tend to bring up some interesting questions. Are griefers and gankers just psychopaths and dickless cunts who have nothing better to do, etc, etc. You get the idea, the petty name calling and the like. After reading some of those messages, I start to wonder, who is the real toxic prick here? The griefer or the griefed? Still, it's understandable behavior. You are there just minding your own business and just existing in your own little space, not having anything valuable or useful on you. Yet from somewhere, someone decides to come and buttfuck you without so much as telling you why. Guess that's the thrill of the surprise butt sex. Anyways, that sure can leave one frustrated, sad, and confused. If it's done in open, i.e. everyone plays together mode, as much as you'd like it to be fair for you, killing players is in fact a designed feature of the game. But what about private groups? You know, the invite-only groups that were designed, and I quote developer official description once more I got a while back. If you want to play with others, but just people who are your close friends or part of your group, you can join a private group. See, there have been stories of people infiltrating private groups and killing people there too. Is that fair? Is that by design? And my answer is yes, the game still allows this, so I don't see a reason why it could be considered somehow outlawed, even if a player group is made for PvE in mind. After all, adding and removing people is left to the group's moderators. But just in case, I did that thing called journalism after some confusion raised by the ever-lovable forum dads. The wonderful page from Frontier clarified with the following statement. Hello commanders, just wanted to take a moment to clarify that we deal with each ticket on case-by-case basis, and being killed in a private group that does not allow PvP is not basis for an automatic reimbursal. Our support team will ensure that they, as they always do, treat each ticket and its circumstances fairly, and if we can help, we will. So wait, this just tells me that the person who got killed may or may not get back their ship and things after getting killed depending on the whims of the Frontier support staff. Okay, then what about the other side of this? I also asked if griefing and ganking in private group is an account bannable offense, but the answer for this was, well, inconclusive. If a player were to get in touch with us with any grievance of any kind, it would be addressed/investigated on case-by-case basis, after which clarifying statement was not provided when asked. So what are we left to conclude from this? You may or may not get back your ship for being killed, and you may or may not get banned for killing in private. The fuck? Of course, this seemed very weird and needed further probing, and just like a veterinarian, at times you do need to stick your whole arm into some holes for the benefit of all. And to spare you the boring details, it came down to our lovely community manager Will providing information from way back in 2016 that Zach Antoninacci gave in the forum thread. There will be a link in the description if you want to read about this. Basically, yes, you could get banned for playing in a private group, but only if this group has already removed you for whatever reason and you are using a second account to get back into it with intent to perform same actions that got your first account removed. Say you got killed by TheYamiks in a private group, then you boot the fucker in the balls out the window of the fine establishment that is the Dead Horse private group. Sometime later after that, you get an application from a player with the name TheYamiks, and this player does the same thing. Now that is a bannable offense that Frontier considers a harassment. Of Of course, there is more to this, but this is just an example. But setting that aside, is there a problem with griefing in Elite Dangerous? See, a lot of folks say that it's too easy for players to get killed by griefers, and that they incur almost no penalty for doing so, stacking odds against players who just goes about doing their own thing their own way. Some even go as far as to ask developers to just remove griefing as a possibility in Elite Dangerous, due to its rampancy in open. Then what about me? Where do I stand? Is griefing possible in open and private too much? Yes. Should PvP be removed from the game? Hell no! Then what kind of a wishy-washy dipshit are you, Yamiks? Well, also simple. Unlike with other games that have PvP, Elite does not have designated PvP zones. What Elite have are designated safe zones that might as well not exist in comparison. See, griefing is so rampant due to the lack of punishment for the aggressor and provided protection for the victim. To basically put, griefing is too easy, and it's the game's job to keep players from fucking each other when it's not needed. This is the job of crime and punishment system, but as many PvP folk out there would tell you, it's a joke. The high security systems are just as safe as anarchies, and ATR are only good for preventing prolonged killing sprees, and the chain interdictions are just downright retarded, etc, etc. But to sum up this whole mess together, for me the biggest toxicity about griefing comes from the man-childs who go and complain on forums and Reddits or whatnot else, calling other players out or even stepping over the line with worse actions that I'll leave up to your imagination. Just remember,
it's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
And as much as it seems that I'm making a joke here, I'm really not. Yes, I do get frustrated when it happens to me, but come on. Are you a baby throwing your toys around or not? And yes, there are some, well, let's just call them special cases in the griefer side too. More than you actually may think. But that's the thing. In comparison, the victims tend to raise up the biggest stink about this. The intended way of playing the game. I feel your pain, but it's no grounds for being a fucking shit and making the community a toxic dumpster fire. In the end, if you have made it thus far, here will be a little reward from me to you in the form of knowledge for just sticking with me. If you are not friends with a player and block them in the game settings, it not only will prevent their messages coming through as you would expect, but also prevents them from instancing with you. Unless a specific case with wings come up or something else. Yes, you can prevent ever seeing a specific player again if you just block them. This is in fact also the intended but fairly unknown feature of the game.